Hey, Seminole State family, get ready to really research with some real librarians and one of our esteemed faculty from here at Seminole State College. We're going to see if deforestation, destroying culture is a good topic. And I kind of want to know, is it destroying culture? What is Research Rally?
Learn with librarians. Get campus info. Connect with your Seminole State family.
Every Wednesday at 4 p.m. at Seminole State Lab on YouTube.
Hey, everybody. You know what time it is. It's Wednesday. It's 4 p.m. It's your library people. We're live. Research Rally every Wednesday at 4 p.m. right here at Seminole State Live on YouTube. And I'm Nicole from the library. And we've got some familiar faces. We've got...
Oh, that's me. I'm Ross. Hi.
And we've got...
Information Jason. Hi, everyone. Hi, Rebecca. Nice to see you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and Rebecca, actually, we're welcoming her back because if you watched our Manga Mia episode just a few weeks ago, she was featured there as the faculty sponsor of the Manga Club here at Seminole State. So definitely check that out. Okay, Google Raider Connect. You'll find the events page for Raider Connect that has all the events here at Seminole State. So welcome, Seminole State family, and listen, you better get ready to research. And we've got a few people. How many viewers are watching, Jason?
There's 3 on the number, so that means it's 3 trillion. So there's a lot. There's a lot. You add a couple zeros at the end there.
And if you need a credit, stay tuned because towards the end of the program today, we will tell you exactly how to ensure that you will get your IDS credit if you're not already popping it in the chat. So yeah, pay attention to those chat prompts as well. So Rebecca, Professor Padilla, known to others as Professor Padilla, can you briefly introduce yourself and tell about the department you're in and some of the courses you teach, and maybe a little bit about your background professionally, educationally?
Sure. So I'm Rebecca Padilla, and I teach in the sociology department here at Seminole State, which is part of the wider social science faculty. Right now, I teach introduction to sociology, and I also teach human sexuality. I've also taught marriage and the family in the past here at the college, but I do focus mainly on intro and human sexuality. I'm very interested in things like, as you know, anime and manga. I've done a couple of presentations here at the college on that. I'm also part of a committee that's known as GVAC. We haven't been as active as we've been in the past. We look at things like violence against women. So you do that as well here at the campus. And I love teaching. I love Seminole State. And my favorite thing is to hang out with librarians because we have the best librarians in the world here at Seminole State. So thank you for welcoming me, you guys.
Did you hear that? This is on film, and it's also being broadcast on the internet. I love it. I'm looking for oh, here we go. Manga Mia. Art.
Flashback.
Okay. So on our Research Live series, which we're doing today, we bring in professors such as Rebecca to be a subject matter expert in the research process. So today we're going to research a topic. We're going to narrate our way through it, model it out so that those watching, whether live or on the replay, can just get more familiar with the process of researching. It's not like a cut and dry thing. We do a lot of experimenting. We have to rework strategies as we go to do the best research. And as librarians, research is our main, what we do day in and day out. But usually we don't have the full background such as that Professor Padilla, Rebecca, does in sociology. So if we're researching a sociology topic, we want her subject matter expertise to guide us, to help us really fine tune how we're looking for the information. And when we're helping students, usually students come with we start out with a topic or a prompt or a thesis, and a lot of times it needs to be reworked. Okay, a lot of times the thesis is too broad, too narrow, or maybe it's not even like it needs to be reworked. So we came up with this without Rebecca's assistance. Does deforestation destroy culture? Because I saw that deforestation could have a sociological impact. Now, I don't know if this was my paper topic. I don't know if this is the question to ask. Maybe we need to search for something different. Is culture anthropology and not sociology? I mean, any tips?
So definitely not just anthropology, it's sociology as well. We are very much in tune with culture. It's one of the chapters that we cover in intro to sociology. So it's important. Sociologists tend to look at culture from two angles. We look at it from both the material culture and the non-material culture. So material culture would be things like tangible things you can get your hands on, like, things that a culture would make, maybe their jewelry or their clothing or their artwork. That would be material culture. But sociologists are also probably even more interested in non-material culture. So things like values and beliefs and norms. Those are the things we're really, really interested in, and how our cultures shape those kinds of things.
So would that be called, if we're going to change our word, would it be community instead of culture?
Definitely not. It's culture. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Face!
Okay.
Culture.
Now, when we got ready for the show, and before, we're going to pull up the databases.
By the way, you can think of really quickly, Nicole, you can think of like society as the people, right? And culture are the things. Okay.
Oh, so
Okay.
The sociologist has spoken.
So would we say, if we wanted to do a paper on this, would we say, does deforestation destroy societies? Would that be like better, or are we still?
No, I think the prompt is written really well, because I like the fact that it's a question, and you're starting with a research question that you want to answer, which is always a good way or good angle to take into research. So, given the fact that I just mentioned to you both non-material and material culture, and the difference between those two, what do you guys think before even going into the database? Do you think deforestation can destroy culture?
Are you asking us on our opinion? What do you think, guys?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Like 100,000%. I mean, there's no more rainforest left. There's no more culture there. Those people don't know what's going on. They have to go somewhere. It's destroying our whole planet. I mean, uninhibited, yes. Unmitigated, yes. 1,000% yes. Ross?
Well, yeah. I mean, just talking through this at the start of it, it kind of gave me all these ideas of ways I could explore this when you were talking about like those intangible things. Like, yeah, I mean, like, how does deforestation intersect with a belief of a society that really values the earth and all that could be like really detrimental to the. I hadn't thought about it like that. I think of deforestation. I think of like the economic conditions and all of those kind of things. So cool. Yeah, I hadn't thought of these avenues.
Okay.
And they also say that, sociologists say like that culture is embedded in our language. And so if you lose a language, you actually lose your culture. And we know that in the world at large, the bully languages, the English, the Spanish, the French, are gobbling up all these other languages. And we're losing languages at a pretty fast rate. And that would include indigenous tribes that are being impacted by deforestation.
Oops. I'm not a typist. My mom tried to make me take keyboarding in high school, and I refused. And I regret that still to this day, everybody. Just letting you know. All right, Ross, when you try to do your screen share, is it working? You want to start by getting to where we start searching?
Yeah,
now,
here we go.
Can we ratchet it back just a tiny bit to where most students or faculty would get to this page that we're on right now? Like, how would they get here?
Yeah. I mean, I just searched. This is just our main library search page. If that's visible to us here. But basically what I did was I just searched for deforestation up front. This is before we had context to this, right? Like I just searched for this. I wanted to see what happened. And that's where I started to consider, like, is this even a sociology topic? Because, as I started looking at the publications I was finding, many of them down here come from the science teacher or biotropica. That sounds sciencey and all of those kinds of things there. So I don't think I was aiming in the right direction, right? So if I was taking the sociology class and I was looking at these sources about fire-induced I don't think I would be looking at the right materials there. So what I did was I went back and I started to add some of those layers to this, maybe like culture, and maybe we could add beliefs or something like that to our search to see how it shapes things a little bit better for us. And as I do that, I start to get a little closer to our goals, right? The Italian Sociological Review. Okay, now we're aiming in a better direction. The Journal of Development Studies. That sounds a little like sociology to me too. So I think we're aiming in a better direction because we have a little bit more context to this, right? So that's what I'm looking at here. I'm pretty happy with these results so far.
Now, so Ross has kind of modeled out his pre-research and his thinking with the beginning of the research process, which is something that everyone does, librarians, students, faculty included. Now, when we initially talked to Rebecca, she mentioned that a lot of times in sociological research, students will tend to, and I didn't phrase this right. I don't know how to write this. They will not see, how do you say it? See the forest for the trees? Or you see, that's right. Okay, can you explain kind of that phenomenon? And then I want you to roast Ross and tell me if he's not seeing the forest for the trees or seeing the trees in the forest.
No, he definitely. I'm not going to roast you, Ross. You're doing great. So first of all, if I was doing an environmental topic, and if my students were going to be doing that, I would encourage them to look up environmental sociology first and foremost, because I want them to think about how environmental sociologists approach problems in the environment. And, they could even just look up kind of a general mission statement of an environmental sociologist, which is going to help drive that research. If they just jump into the database and start looking up deforestation, even with culture, they're maybe focusing too much on the assignment guidelines or the concepts, but they don't have the bigger picture. Like, what is environmental sociology and what is the goal of environmental sociology? What are environmental sociologists all about? And once you have that, that's like seeing the forest, right? Then you can kind of go into the trees and start really kind of narrowing your topic down to make more sense of it. That makes sense.
Okay. So going back a little bit to the drawing board, because so now we've been told, okay, just going straight into deforestation, we need more foundational knowledge about the big umbrella ideas and context of this topic. Okay, so what'd you find, Ross?
Well, that's a good point. I always recommend doing a little bit of background reading before you dive into reading like academic sources, right? Because they're going to assume you already have some of those underlying principles, pretty well set in your mind there. So I found a university. I'm not familiar with this university at all, but I think it looked pretty good. And they're just
pretty good. You don't seem too sure. Sussberger or not? How hard did you sift? Did you sift?
I haven't gone too deep into this yet.
I think you sifted a little too swiftly.
Charles Sturt, he seems like a nice guy. But if I scroll through here, this is telling me what's going on in this topic. Like, what is environmental sociology? Why should I care about it? What should I know about it? If I dig through there, they are citing people. They're citing experts. They're citing probably professors at this university. So this would be a great way to kind of get the lay of the land. Go, what is it that I need to understand about this before I go understand the deforestation in this particular area there? So I 100% agree. I love looking at background reading, because then if we jump back over here, it might shape the way we search. It might shape the way we view things.
Rebecca, would you be able kind of in a nutshell kind of break down what the environmental sociology, kind of give us unpack the big picture of it?
Well, it depends on which school of thought you're coming from, because that's one thing about sociology is it's very theoretical. So for instance, a conflict theorist looking at environmental sociology is going to have a very different take than a functionalist is going to have towards environmental sociology. So it depends on the theory that you're coming from. But in general, you're looking at how humans impact the environment, of course, our human behavior, our human footprint, but also looking at the role that systems play in that picture as well.
Okay.
In sociology, we tend to debunk a lot. That's kind of what we do. We debunk ideas that things all boil down to the individual, and we look at systemic causes for problems like deforestation or, you know, cultures collapsing. These have systemic issues.
Yeah, it definitely has to be the societal thing. I mean, think about folks who may be in the Amazon rainforest, and we're talking about language and communication and culture. Well, what if there is no language? What if a person has never actually videotaped or interviewed or seen that language? How would we even know if it existed or if it went away based on the deforestation? So, I mean, this is where the sociologist comes in and really does the research. But yeah, you can't just say the one person, it has to be the collective. And, you know, what area have we even started on discussing? You know, where is deforestation? You mean up in Washington State, or do you mean in the rainforest, or where exactly are we talking about? And what about those livelihoods of those people? And what are we doing with all those trees and the deforestation that we're doing? And what does it cause in the climate? There's a lot of different ways that we can go here. We might want to check out a mind map or something, maybe Credo reference or something like that to see where we're going.
Yeah. So maybe boiling down that topic, you could say like deforestation in the Amazon. That'd be one way to like kind of zone in on that topic, because I think it's a good point. What location are we talking about here? So maybe deforestation in the Amazon, that might help us zone it in.
All right. Because Jason seems pretty convinced that deforestation is bad for society. And I'm going to agree. I think that's, yeah. So I know we're going to find it in here. So we'll see if we can find some details. Now, we're right now, the screen that's showing is the library catalog, or also called the library search engine. And it has lots of different things. It has books, ebooks. It does have articles that are in the databases. And you like basically click on them and go into the articles in the databases. The databases are also housed separately on other library web pages. So just to kind of clarify that there's lots of different resources here, and that database articles, there's many different roads to get to a database article. So this is the road we're going down. All right, what'd you find there?
Well, I don't know if this is a particularly good article or not, but I did notice that it came from the social science database. So at least it seems like it might be going in the right directions. So we could take a look at this database. I mean, it seems like it's on topic.
All right, and notice that Ross clicked on a link that was under click for find full text. So that's what you would, if you're in the,
that didn't work.
Bummer.
I don't have a good answer for that.
Well, just really quickly, the title was pretty good because you've got like livestock and soy in there. So that's that, you know, that's that tangible culture, right? Food is a big part of our tangible culture. Sure. And if you are causing deforestation and, you know, disrupting someone's food supply, it's going to affect their culture.
Okay. We'll have to find now some stuff like Ross just happened upon something that looked like we probably had it, but then it's like, nope, we don't. Now, if a professor, a faculty member, if even a student has enough time in their schedule to complete a project, you can contact us or go search ILL on our website, Interlibrary Loan, or chat and ask for the link to it. And you can request articles, books, ebooks that we don't currently possess in our collections here at Seminole State to be sent to Seminole State or emailed or electronically sent. So you can have access to materials, but that does have a time. It can take a little time, like a couple weeks, maybe, depends on the material, the item. So just to point that out. So Ross, do you find anything comparable in this list that full text?
So what I did now was, knowing that we found this social science database, I decided to rerun my search basically, but I kind of took the sociology parts out of it because that's implied in the database. I know it's going to be about social science topics. Now that could go different directions, but I thought I'd try a search in here to see what we'd find looking in a database that's very subject specific. So as I'm looking through here, I do see some different types of sources than I saw before. So as I'm looking at this, you know, they're talking about it reducing air quality. And well, okay, maybe that does have some tangents on the sociological side of it. or I see things about, where was one I saw before about the supply chain stuff there. That's more like economics. That kind of caught my eye. But then as we're going through here, indigenous territory. So that's another strategy you could take to finding articles, is to choose a database that's subject relevant, right? And then do your searches directly there. Kind of reduces some of that uncertainty.
Okay. That looks like one that would probably answer some of our questions about the effects of deforestation on culture and society. So can we click on that one, Brazilian, Amazon, indigenous territories under deforestation pressure?
Now, this is actually from a publication called Scientific Reports. So that leads me to believe this might be going in more of that science direction, but I don't know. I mean, until we look at it, we won't really know for sure.
So we have the abstract details, which abstract is like an introduction or summary of what the entire article is about. And that can help you while you're researching to know if you even want to dig deep into an article. If you notice when Ross was scanning down the list, some of these titles on these database articles are pretty intense. They have a lot of complicated language. They're framed, they're structured in a very a way that would be familiar to the experts in the field, right? So when Professor Padilla was talking about getting that foundational knowledge first when you're doing sociological topics, that will be necessary so you can apply that foundational knowledge to help you understand when you get into the depths of, how professionals or experts in the field will talk about it.
And I do want to point out that I really like what you guys are doing here, because what I want students to understand, or maybe one of the takeaways from this particular presentation, is that social research takes time. If I'm going to do a presentation at the college, or I want to write a paper, I'm planning a couple hours to spend in the database. And I like to go in and just pull out articles that I think look good, save them on my desktop, and then go back later and kind of review through them. But it's not something that's going to take 5 minutes. It's going to take a couple hours if you're going to do really good quality research.
Agreed.
And of course, you guys are always here to help students if they have any questions. So
that's what we do.
All the resources available for students.
Yeah, and I'll pop our tiny URL for the chat, which is 24/7. So you don't have to use it just one time. You can use it as many times as you need to. There's different people on there, different people at different times of day, but they're all librarians that can help you do the research. So you don't have to do those hours of research in one day, right? We can spread it out. But yes, the chat, as Ross is pointing out there, is always at the bottom of our web pages, and sometimes it'll pop out at you. And if you search Seminole State College library chat, you'll find it as well. So yes, take advantage of that. All right. So did you still have that article pulled up?
I don't, because it really wasn't talking too much about it. What I was hoping it would talk about, but it did have some elements of it. Let me go back to it.
So was it not sociological? Sociological
it was really
enough?
Talking more about the economics of it, but I guess maybe there's some overlap with it. But what I did like about this article was in the discussion section, they did kind of get at some of the impacts on like the indigenous cultures. Let me go back to where I saw that. This article's kind of deep. Stuff like this. I made it too big again. How embarrassing. But it talks about It's this decades-long efforts to curb climate change, and there's all this illegal mining and land grabbing going on due to the deforestation. It's like creating all these new opportunities for people to come claim the property. So like maybe some of that with those property rights and things, and if we're talking about indigenous cultures, I could see that maybe giving us some evidence that we could use to talk about how this is like harming cultures and stuff.
Okay.
And that's also a good tip, because it's really important that students understand you might find an article that just has one section that hits on what you want to talk about. The whole article might not be applicable, but a small section might. So look through it, check the subheadings, and see if anything in there. And you don't have to like necessarily read the whole thing. You can kind of glance through and find the spot that actually fits with what you want to research and know about.
Yeah,
Ross,
like this came from the discussion.
Can we take a peek at Credo reference and maybe put deforestation in the mind map and just see
Sure.
for visual learners, like maybe which directions to go in? Because I think there's going to be an economic impact. There's going to be, you know, just a sustainability impact. There's going to be a climate impact, and there's going to be, you know, for the people living in those areas. And again, I would like to hear an argument of drawing the line with the differences between deforestation and like the state of Washington versus the rainforest. I mean, a tree is being chopped down, so there has to be a repercussion of that, or somebody needs to be bankrolling and getting a lot of money in order to do that labor.
Right. So if you want to look at things like deforestation, like in Indonesia with palm oil, for instance, which is in about every single product that we have, we're literally causing deforestation in Indonesia because of palm oil. So that's the economic vantage point that Jason was talking about. Who's making money on this?
Yeah. Look on whatever you're eating or drinking right now, everybody watching. Look
it's in everything.
Pull something out of the cabinet, out of the cupboard, out of the pantry. It'll
and that's coming from Indonesia.
Okay. I wonder why. Do you know why just in Indonesia? Is it just, I mean, I guess it's like you got to have the perfect like climate to like grow the certain plant, and then if they like have been able to do the industry, I don't know, it's just interesting to me that it's that one locale. I'd have to do some research if I wanted to know why it's mostly there.
That's why like sociology is such a great subject matter. And I don't want to get off topic, but really quickly, because you know, we look at things and say, you know, like Peter Berger said, the first rule in sociology is this, that things are not what they seem. You got to look beneath the iceberg. I tell my students, you almost got to be like private eye investigators of society, right? And the world around you. So if you look at something like palm oil in Indonesia, you'll have a company like Dove. I can't remember who owns Dove, but I think it's a company in Scandinavia. I'm not positive. You guys can check that out. You know, they did all these campaigns about, you know, women and women's empowerment and self-esteem. And at the same time, behind the scenes, they're causing deforestation in Indonesia. So you have to question, what are these companies really standing for at the end of the day? And of course, it's, you know,
the almighty dollar, right?
Right, money, and then, you know, that brand trust that they so want us to have with their brands, and they don't want us to know that things aren't what they seem, and that cultures are.
So this is, once again, going back to foundational knowledge, kind of ideas of topics that are related to a topic. Credo reference, great place to start.
Yeah, so we have Amazon rainforest. Clearly, that's very specific. The logging industry in general, illegal logging. So we can obviously deduce that there's some sort of illegal logging, and you know that clearly doesn't have a good ramification after that. Tropical rainforest. What's the difference between tropical and Amazon? Certification. So this is going in all these different areas, right? And there's going to be effects and impacts and shock waves when we get into each of these. But interestingly enough, I don't see anything about like the economics or anything, the stuff that we were talking about, which is why the sociologist has to keep drilling down further and getting into it, because as Rebecca said, this is, you know, sociology is the study of the behavior of the people, and that changes from area to area. And it would be fascinating if we were going to tackle this research topic on deforestation, which areas and what are the effects, and maybe try to draw a correlation of, we're all feeling that. You know, I don't know what the people, again, using Washington, which is a big logging town, or Aberdeen or something, I don't think their language is going away. I don't think they lose the English language or the American culture and society if you're fired from your logging job. However, in another place, it might be that. So storm surge, tornado, illegal logging. Amazon, what's illegal logging? You can't chop it down, maybe a protected area, and you do it just to go in there and do it. I mean, it's very easy in the middle of the night to chop the tree down, and you come back the next day and you go, "How dare you? It's illegal. Put the tree back up. It's been there hundreds of years." Like, that's not going to work. So, all right, so
not going to work.
In the chat, everyone, we're asking for your opinions. How do you approach research, and kind of what's your strategies? We're looking for some answers and engagement in there, and we're going to wrap up here soon, and we'll get you the link for our today's session so you can get first-year experience credit. Any final sort of research strategies, Rebecca, that you would kind of use, different keywords, or do you have any favorite websites or databases that you use?
I mean, I always tell my students to use JSTOR. Sage is really good, and EBSCO is great as well. Those are the ones I kind of drive my students towards. So, but you guys probably know even more than those. Those are the ones that I use mostly. ProQuest is good too.
Yeah,
What do you think, Ross?
I mean, I'm with you. With sociology, my go-to tool is usually Sage Journals. I like it. I think it has a really wide collection of sources on there. Social science journals works pretty well. It's got a more of an international focus to it, so you get to see a lot more of that kind of research. JSTOR is good too if you don't need anything super current.
Yeah, I also JSTOR has those weird random, and they might have some more obscure, rather not weird, but obscure journals that are, you know, like really particular in a niche of sociology or as sociology in general. So you can find more like where you might go to a couple different databases, find a lot of the same articles, go to JSTOR, you'll just find different stuff, maybe just a couple things, but still 1 or 2 articles can make a big difference for your research for sure. So if you are watching right now and you need IDS credit, I think all of you maybe that need that credit, if you didn't already put your name well, actually, sorry, scratch that. We don't want you to put your name and your ID number in the chat. What you can do, if I can find this handy dandy little banner here, is right now you can text us. This goes to our library chat, actually. You can text us at this number on the screen, 407-915-3614, with your name, your student ID number, and just put FYE credit for Research Rally. Once again, this is a private, it goes to a private spot. We won't see your name or the number you're texting from. Okay, and that's proprietary. It's not going to be public on the YouTube or anything. So once again, if you need FYE credit for the program today, text us at 407-915-3614. And we want to thank Rebecca, who I'm sure this is not the last time that we're going to see Professor Rebecca Padilla on a Research Rally or in the library. We're actually just getting started. If you're into anime and manga, we're getting started and expanding the manga collection and doing some more online programming and podcasts on those topics. So stay tuned for that.
I'd love hanging out with you guys. I'll come back anytime.
Okay, we got that on tape. We got that on tape. All right. Well, it's been good to hang out with you, our Seminole State family. Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, like, share, hang out with us every week, okay? And, you know, I don't know why I do this every week, and I still don't know. You're on mute. Did you get it?
My ATM PIN number. Oh, I already said it. Okay, sorry. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Have a great day. Bye!